today. I don't know if anybody's going to be watching this. And I can't really see anything via YouTube or Google at this moment. I'm having some problems with the Google. So I'll show you actually a front image of her. She looks better than what the camera can show. The camera is really crappy. It's really, really crappy camera. So I do apologize for that. Eventually one day I will have a nice camera and figure out how to use a computer. Okay, that's good. So I'm just going to be touching her up at the moment. So hopefully I can do a nice add-on to the diamonds on the image to look like a deco standard. If the lighting and other stuff gets a little weird, it's because it's actually quite dark in my room. If you don't know who this character is, look up an animation called Reboot. I'm sure there's plenty of videos of them, of the episodes of the 90s cartoon. It's not really a cartoon as much as an animation because it's all done by the power of the computer. And this is Hex, and she's one of the villains, and I won't go into it any further than that because it'll start ruining things. You could actually own it on DVD now. I know a lot of people were complaining that you couldn't go and do that on it. But now they do. They used to have rip copies of like VHS things off the internet and whatnot for the longest time. So much money that was lost by the people who owned it. Could easily like had it addressed. Toys are a little bit harder to find. They're decent. Everybody has different tastes. I had to change a few things on this design because she started looking like a Harlequin. I'm not particularly savvy at her looking like a Harlequin, even though she's a bit comical in herself and she has these mime masks for most of the show. So if you are answering any type of or giving me any type of questions for me to answer, I should say, I do apologize. I'm not looking at the screen and I don't know how to bring any of that up. Google keeps changing things, and the other vid stuff I have is not working properly for me to show full screen painting. It's showing me more of a thumbnail, and then it'll show my screen. So I think it's more of a gaming recording software, which is fine. I can use that for other stuff, but just trying to get it situated. Yeah, sniffling a lot because I'm looking down. I'm also a little sick, so if I seem a little out of it and I lose my place in my thought, I do apologize because I really don't know what I'm doing. So I'm just filling in these particular hex designs. If you need some good hex designs, which I'm going to go back and clean them up with red, Let's see, where do I actually have it? Oh. This is what I get for having a desk in a studio. This chicken wire mesh thing from Tim or Tom Holtz Supply, or usually it's around there. It's like the hodgepodgey stuff. I'm not really sure which company does it. These are just little film transfer things cut out to look like a chicken wire. You could use it as a beehive. Hold on 1 second. Alright. Anyway, you can probably find that particular design either at a Michael's, Aaron Brothers, other art supply place, I don't know. I don't think Hobby Lobby would have it. They have like a lot of stuff that isn't really hobby stuff, I've noticed. It's like going to a Home Goods or a Pottery Barn or something. And I'm not too sure about that. It's like, okay, they all kind of sell the same crap. Different prices, different coupons, but then you end up driving around, and is it really worth it at that point? It's kind of like grocery store coupons. You'll probably see the light come up here. It's the curtains being moved. Make it really bright in here if I move that. So, this has gone through a couple different revisions. It's probably going to still go through a couple of revisions. There's certain things I'm not necessarily happy. Her face, if you actually see it in person, where it looks really, really white right now, and you don't really see the nose because it's not done in black. You don't see the subtle colors or anything, so hopefully eventually I'll get a better camera where you can see that. To work on a background for this particular character. She doesn't have that many things going on visually outside her outfit, and all the characters there are pretty colorful, but like her little throne room, pretty dismal considering. Very purple though, so it starts making her look kind of like a Harlequin when you go into those color schemes, the red, the black, the dark purple, which starts looking kind of like that scheme. Should just keep repeating, huh? So if you're painting, it's always okay to move your image around. So mine's on the side right now. I'm painting with one hand. My other one might jostle, so it's on a nice flat surface. And I got a 10/0 short liner by Princeton Select. This is what that brush is. I actually like these particular ones a lot more than like the other brands. I don't know why. Maybe it comes down to the actual coating that's on the brush. It's nice. And it's kind of like a plasticky coating. And the problem with getting, say, like this guy here, the Princeton, this one's a snap. See, this is sealed too. It's got that nice coat on it, but every once in a while you get ones with just like the full paint, like the red or green, or even like maybe the natural wood with that weird coating on it. And after a while, it just comes off and it like flakes everywhere, and you get little pieces, and it rubs raw on your fingers, and it's not pleasant. And I don't particularly like that. But this is very nice. Nice feel for your fingers, especially if your fingers are sensitive. If you draw a lot, paint a lot, mainly use them, maybe even for like crocheting or something. You want to get into painting, and you're having that problem here and here. I don't think you really have as much problem with chopsticks unless you get really bad ones. If you get bad ones like I do often, because I don't know any better, you get that soreness there after a while, especially if you're like a writer or an artist. You tend to use those fingers more, and they start to kind of get raw. And since I use them like this, it's gonna be painful if you get like something that's not gonna work with your fingers all that well. So this is a good brand, and I'm not sure if Michaels carries this particular brand. I haven't really gone in there to get art supplies too much. I get them usually at a local place here called Art Supply Warehouse. Excuse me. Damn pill. Or I get it over at Aaron Brothers. So I put the red all the way over there. So a good tip for your paintbrushes: after you wash and get the paint out, pull and get that paint out from your brush, because there's always going to be some residual paint in there, and kind of twist it a little bit. One, it'll kind of help with keeping that shape. Get it really lightly. Get that paint out from underneath the bristles. You're drying out your brush, so you can keep that nice shape, so you don't have to keep cutting it to keep the shape. And then don't let it sit in the cup like this, because then your tip's going to bend, and rebending it back or painting it's going to be a waste. So it's good to, if it's still wet, like overly wet, you can just put it on your paper towel, tissue, whatever, and it should be good. So let me go get that red. I'll be right back. Okay. Do I even have that particular paint? Yeah, I do. So I use a couple different paints, just as a suggestion. We're looking at this. So I've used Golden Artist Colors. This is a heavy body. It's kind of like a thick oil paint, but it's an acrylic. So that's a good brand I like. The other one is Liquitex Heavy Body. That's also acrylic. And then let's see, what else I've used on here. I've used Liquitex Basics. These are more water-based. You could actually use them with watercolor or treat them as like a watercolor paint. If you do or something like, say, like you water this down enough in your palette here. Yeah, there we go. And add a lot of water to it, and you can kind of move it around, and then you can kind of go back and rework it like you do a watercolor paint if you put a lot of pigment on there. And that's good. And it works decently with watercolor. And if you can't get like your watercolor pencils to get as bright as you want, putting a wash of these, if your watercolor still doesn't come up very bright, to brighten it up, and just, again, very light coat, very watery, and do layers. Kind of if you're painting a miniature or model or something. That's always a good thing to do with wash. The other one I use is the Golden Bottle liquid acrylic. And this one's more of the consistency like the basic, but it's a little bit nicer fluid. It doesn't really get as sticky as this one, so I have to put a lot of water in these. But I tend to treat these more like watercolor anyway until I get to the heavy body, and then I'll treat it like normal paint. But those are the ones I use. I tend to use the basics more when these go on sale because they're a little bit more expensive. I'll grab them. I know, like, Aaron Brothers is getting rid of some of these currently, and they'll have them in their clearance section for different values. Otherwise, you can use a coupon. Same thing as Michael's. They carry usually the same brand. Most of my paint I got for free because I'm poor. So little goes a long way. So for the red, I've used about maybe 3 drops, and I'll probably have way more than I need to fix what I need to fix. I'm going to do the same thing with the magenta here, if I can get it to open without splattering everywhere. Sometimes you get paint on your fingers and stuff. There you go, 2 drops. When you're fixing something, you really don't need as much paint. It's nice. I should probably have some black too. Let's see. I have like way too much stuff over by my desk. I have to move everything in order to get to it. One day I'll have my art desk again. Do I have black? Handy. Yes. Alright. I do a lot of stuff with black. This thing's huge compared to... Yeah, so white, you can get the smaller one, but black, depending on what you're doing, really. If you, there we go, working a lot in black like I do, trying to do a lot more space stuff as of late, you'll want to have a lot of black to prime your canvases. I've found that having a canvas that's already primed in black paint, there we go, doesn't work too well. The paint doesn't stick. Also, some spray paints. If you like certain spray paints to paint on for canvases, they're great for holding other spray paints, but they suck at holding acrylic paint onto a canvas, and you don't want something like that. It's going to be a problem. So now here I'm going to start watering that down because it's not doing what I want it to do. So you'll see it kind of blends and breaks up as I move it, which is kind of what I want it to do. So I don't want it too dark or anything. And again, if you screw up, you could always paint over it. That's the beauty of acrylic. Watercolor, you can get away with it a little bit if you know what you're doing. Keep that watered down. There's just little things you can do. The more you use a particular type of paint or things to add to your paint, the more familiar you get to them and see, like, okay, what can I do? What do I feel more comfortable with? And that's always good. This is just a quick little thing because I haven't had any art videos in a while. But if anybody had any questions to what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, not necessarily why I'm doing the subject matter, I'm just doing it because I particularly like this character and thought it would be fun to do that. If you have any questions about my hand being very steady, because I'm painting with one hand, it is not very steady at all. Allergies. So sometimes I have to go back and edit like I'm doing now because I didn't do a horrible job putting the bronze in, but before I put all that stuff in, I didn't do a very good job of painting it. And again, you can go back and edit. This is the beauty of art, is that you don't have to show it until you're done. And as long as you're happy with it, hell to everybody else, right? Not everybody's going to like what you're doing. Nobody's going to be able to say 100% of the time, oh, geez, that pill. They're going to get it right. They might have fans or other that will be quite happy with their work a good percentage of the time, but there's always going to be somebody at some point be like, why did you do that? And why didn't you do this? And it's like, oh, because I didn't want to. And it's not that easy. And not everybody has the same skills. That is the other. And darken that a little bit. I'm one of those people, if you see a mistake, your own mistake, it's a million times worse than somebody else making a mistake, because at least you're not looking at it. You know, when you go home, it's like you don't have to give it a thought, but when it's your piece and you're like, it's like an OCD or something. It's like, oh, that's gonna bother me. I gotta fix it. I gotta fix it. And sometimes it's better when you fix it, and sometimes it's worse. That's the other beauty, I think, why I see so many people using digital art more than traditional nowadays. It's because they can edit so much easier, um, have layers, do all this stuff, but I'm not sure if that many people could actually go and whip out an oil painting. If they can do both, that that's a pretty awesome deal. I get more water on that so I can pull it. Don't be afraid to use your finger. You get like too much paint or something. Kind of blend it. Also, if you put too much water on anything, paper towel, tissue, or something, put it straight down and pick it straight up. Don't move it around because then you're going to get the paint is going to go all over the place. So we're just going to go like dab, up, down, like that. Make sure you're not picking up any paint too, because when you're moving it around. Let's see, what else are we going to do with her? Oh yeah, I got some hexes. These are plain cardboard elements. So it's always good to have other things. This I got. That's what this is. So I don't have to cut my own because I'm lazy. There's nothing wrong with being lazy. Another good tool is the Sharpie poster paint pins. Make sure you get the size that you want. This one is extra fine point, and the old ones, which I really hate the old ones, have this metal bobby pin tip thing, and it might work for some people, but they don't seem to work all that great with me. They have that really sensitive tip that can break, and then all the paint clogs for some reason, then you can't use it, so you just wasted like $5 or whatever. This one, the new one, it's thicker, and this is the fine point. Kind of see the thickness. And this one has a felt point. Sometimes you just have to shake it and it just starts on its own. So that's nice. Other times you need to kind of run it on something and it's like, oh, okay, I'll decide if I work or not. So I had lines already put on this in pencil, so kind of know where my little marker is. Make sure I'm lining it up though. I don't really want to use white, but it's the only good paint pen I have right now, and I'm only marking it so I can paint it later anyway. So make sure I get that thing correct. The internet is a plethora of design options. Usually I would have to go to like secondhand bookstores or see if my mom had anything in her Art Deco books or something. And because you're finding the design. There's nothing wrong with using a design of someone else's if you can't design your own. A lot of these designs from like the 20s, 30s, 10s even, they're all like kind of like shareware, make it an easier term. The statute of limitation of the copyright on a lot of these things don't exist anymore. There's even books, older books and stuff that are that way. And this one's going to be the weird one because it doesn't match up with the point up here. Some people would consider this cheating. I don't care. I don't have a steady hand. I'm much older than I used to be. And one of the first things that goes, if not your eyes, is your ability to hold something properly. It's not fun. This may or may not be where I want it, but I'm gonna. And so if you can do a straight line on your own, that's awesome. Sometimes I can do it, sometimes I can't. I'm actually doing a Pokemon piece once I get the paint. Now I'm going to do watercolor. I already drew it out, and I had to do polygons and hexagons and all these other little thingies by hand because there's no thing I can just trace for a Pokemon. You got to get it to look right and stand in the right place, and I just screwed that one up. I'll fix that. And if your hand's not steady, you're just going to be redrawing a Pokemon over and over again. And I don't have the time to be doing that. You can't get projects done if all you're doing is drawing the same thing over and over again. Unless that's the project, which I've done stuff like that before. I'm not going to worry about the ones down here so much, but trying to get it into the right angle. I have all these wonderful rulers randomly. Couldn't tell you where to get them. Because I don't know. You will find amazing stuff at estate sales every once in a while. So this thing, I really love this thing. This is one of my favorite rulers. I don't know where you can get one other than maybe an art store. So if I pin those two there, and I put him about here. Stuff I have to do is figuring it out by your eye can be a challenge. The more you do it, the better you're gonna be able to do it. Same thing with anything, really. Okay, so that'll work. But do I have to worry? Yeah, you don't need to see me digging for that. Stuff happens. So reline that. And yeah, it's just a little bit, just on the side, I forgot. Okay, so now I gotta do it to the other one. This is what happens when you do a painting where everything has to be a bit symmetrical, and you don't have a computer to do it for you. Pretty painful doing it it's never going to be symmetrical the way you would want it to be. There's always going to be some type of issue. If you're hardcore OCD and you want to do something like this, don't. I'm going to say if it has to be exactly and you're not good at like maybe drafting or this particular thing, then I would suggest you definitely ignore something like that. Oh, I've got a thing on the Google. So, as you can see, this is the hex being added to it. It looks kind of weird. I'm going to admit that. Let's see. I am going to be looking for a particular design so I can work on this. But I'm going to do that later because I don't want it to be too boring. So each hex is going to end up being gold to some degree, and then it's going to have other one stuff. So I don't want to do the yellow with the gold underneath it. I want to just do the gold. So I'm going to go grab my gold. Okay, this is going to be a bit brighter, I think, than the other gold I had, which is fine. If I don't like it, I could always deal with it. Okay. If you're not bored out of your mind yet, I'm happy for you. If you are bored out of your mind, I apologize. It's mean of me to make you sit and watch. So yeah, this is much brighter. It's good. Keeping a straight line with an angle brush. This is also a snap angle shader, 1/4 brush. If you're bad at following a line and you have to repaint it, getting blue painter's tape and putting it over. If you're on my Facebook page or even my Tumblr, you'll see I use painter tape a lot on this for the design out here and painting and everything. So you can see that this paint isn't doing the greatest job of covering up the black, but that's fine. The white's very, very bright, and I'm going to be going over it a couple times. Not in this video because you don't need to watch all that boring stuff. You don't need to see all the crap. I'm going to leave a very thin kind of line there. She's going to go through several different more revisions with the gold. The golds that I do have that I want to put on her to darken these spots up is an enamel. So I'm looking into some other option. I have put gold leaf on some of my acrylic paintings, And it was a pain. I never did that before. Learned a lot of what to do, what not to do. If you're going to do it, um, don't expect great results unless you already know how you're supposed to do it. Even then, don't expect the great results. I think people who do oil paintings tend to have probably better luck covering um, gold foil and all that. But my experience with gold foil is a love-hate relationship. I love it, but I hate getting it onto a painting. Gold paint, on the other hand, not so bad. Unless you're trying to do some cleanup, and then it can be a pain. Again, depending on what type. If you have a really thick or smooth version. And what I mean by smooth is you put it on and it's very glossy. It's not rough. You can put like a paint down and it's got more like of a dry, flat texture. You'll see that more often when you deal with black, because you have Mars black, you have lamp black, and then there's one other one I'm not remembering. Mars lamp. Why can't I remember the other one? Probably because those are too common. But there's a third one. I've actually had the third one somewhere. But you usually run into lamp and Mars. One's a flat, non-shiny, and the other one is shiny. I want to say lamp is the shiny and the Mars is the flat. If I am giving you the wrong information, feel free to correct me. But I want to say that's it. You could usually open up a container and look at it and see if one's a little bit more shiny and glossy than the other, and then you can find out real quick. Most places will let you at least look at the paint. If not, everybody's got like a smartphone nowadays. I'm sure there's something online about that. Probably going to go and get the other lines down some other time and show you some finished stuff in a moment, so you're not too bored, and I'll explain like what I did. Painting can be soothing, it can be boring. It's all in the eye of the beholder here. I'll show you one of the video projects I want to do, and I'm going to be doing that in a step-by-step thing, and that should hopefully be a nicer video set to watch other than this, because this is mainly cleanup and finishing touches for this painting. This was a bit of a monster to do because I had to go through so many steps. But the thing I'm going to be painting soon is going to be hopefully not as bad. I have a thing that's being commissioned of some Pokemon, because people still love Pokemon, which is cool. I say a lot. That should go pretty quick too, and I can explain why I'm doing things with that particular piece. It's a 5x7 drawing that I'm going to try watercolor ink, and I might just keep it in colored pencil. I'm not sure. Maybe some Copic after for some light touches. So far so good. And that's what those hexes there. And I got one more to go. And then I'll stop and show you guys some actual other stuff I've decided to work on or not. And so finished project. I wanted to do a video set of when I just finished with a friend, but it was way too big for me to be working on this desk. This desk is my computer desk and my art desk at the same time. So if they say, oh, you need a lot of space, it's nice to have a lot of space. If you have an open floor, use it. If you have a computer desk, just do smaller projects until you get the room. Yeah, as long as you're getting practice in it, it's all good. And so you get that. I'm gonna have to go through this gold several times, which is fine. Like sticking to each other. Alright, okay, set that there. So what's going to end up happening is some of those lines is going to be fixed. Again, you don't have to be like crazy perfect the first time. You can go back and edit and change it. So I'm going to have to get these colors, which I know exactly what I used to make that color set. It's actually a bright blue with a magenta wash on it to make that color. So I need to go back and clean some of the other stuff after I clean these, and then I put the design I want on these, which is going to make it look like more like a circuit board. The white's going to disappear, and then I'm going to get the lines on there. Originally, I was going to do a deco shell fan that fanned into it, so we'd have it this way, this way, this way, straight, you know, and then fanned, kind of like a seashell. The ones that fan, the fan seashells, those ones have the brakes, and that's pretty much what I wanted to do. Do I even have one? I have so much stuff around here. I do. It's actually, see if you can actually see this particular shell. So you can see that seashell break, how the lines are. And that's originally what I wanted to do on these. But I was worried it was, again, starting to look like a Harlequin. And it's like, I want to stay out of that because it's not what she really is. So, by the way, these type of cases are perfect if you have like little projects and you just have a lot of knickknacks and stuff and kind of keep them together. Eventually, once I figure out how to use clay, I'm going to use a bunch of light bulbs. I have like lots of little light bulbs, beads, buttons, tons of stuff. And hopefully I can do some sculpting at some point. So let me get some actual pieces of artwork that are done to show, so you guys don't really have nothing to show. I will show you quickly before I get up and grab something. This will be my fun project to do. This I got at Monsterpalooza from an artist I will list later, so you know where to get it. Probably don't get to see it too well. This is called an Emperor Dragon sculpt, and it comes in gray at first. It's nice detail and everything. I spray painted mine black with a very matte finish. You can see it's not shiny. It's reflective a little bit, but it really isn't shiny. It's very kind of gruff, kind of like a chalkboard type gruff. That will actually grip the paint better than something smooth, because you go with something smooth and it's like, then you got to sand it or remove the paint, and it's just a pain in the butt. But let me get you some stuff to show real quick that I haven't really shown. Okay, so see me running around. Here's the Pokemon one. You cannot see it at all. Awesome, right? Maybe if I tilt it that way, you might be able to see it. Magic. Okay. Kind of bright, right? Anyway, you'll see it once I do actually painting. You'll be like, oh wow, it's like magic. So this one has Ditto and Porygon. I had to write the names on the back because I know Ditto. I don't know Porygon too well. So we'll be showing that hopefully in a later video through steps. The other thing I've done, which is like mass produced, are these woodsy owls. Again, they look way better on my Etsy. These guys are woodcuts that you can get from Michael's. So that's the overall shape in the back. They come in different cutouts. This one may have been seasonal. I'm not sure. I particularly like this one because it's got feet and the little wings showing. So these ones are acrylic paint and felt, and even like the modeling foam that you would use for like say cosplay costumes. You could actually use that foam sheet stuff to make a costume if that's something you're into. Might do something with that stuff at some other point, but not anytime within the next couple of months. But yeah, these guys are a good, easy thing if you want to make a project yourself. I made a couple, made magnets, and you can see them later on my Etsy if you would like one, or you would like to see a better image of them because they have a better image. And we'll do some smaller projects like that. Then we have these guys. These are all in different versions. These are all different robots from different movies before, I want to say before the 80s, but I'm not sure about him. So most people will know these three. These two, not so much. Most people don't really know these two too well. These ones more so. So we have Robbie, but I'm going to probably try and do a B9 as well. I like B9 as well as Robbie, which, by the way, they're actually by the same guy who designed these guys, the big glass robots. I drew these out with the Sharpie first on the little mini canvases, and then painted on top of them. Kind of brings the ink into it. Then we have Maria. She's quite popular. I did her in gray rather than the gold for now, because I'm not really sure what color she is. I've always seen her in kind of like a golden bronze. And in the movie, obviously she looks more gray because it's black and white. But I might actually go and out in the world, getting distracted. I might change her color a little bit, but I do like the gray. I got a little bit more work for her to do. Then we have Gort. Most people recognize him just from visual. They did have his movie come out again, I believe. So I like the old version, at least his head. It's very simple, his design, but you know, making it good to do. His lace head and everything. And he's definitely gray. All the pictures I've seen is gray. Robbie, he's going to have a lot more color. I need to figure out a background because up here is see-through. Then we have this guy. They don't really have a name per se that I know of. They are just called the Men of Metal. If you don't know what he's from, you may want to look into a movie called Light Years. It came out in the 80s, I want to say. It's on usually VHS every time I find it. You could probably find a digital copy, which I have found one. It's a little bit more adult, so it's not really suitable for kids only because there's frontal nudity. That's like the only thing. I used to watch it as a kid. I'm fine. Nothing happened. It wasn't, you know, seen as anything pornographic. But some parents might not be happy with their kids watching frontal nudity. It's not like anything's going on. It's just boobs. I mean, if you watch Game of Thrones and you let your kids watch it, that's far worse. So, so this guy has a lot more work. But if you want to read the book, you're probably going to have to find an English version of, I believe it's a French book, and it's called The Metal Men of Gandahar. That's the name of the book. I can't remember the author at this point. I have not found an English copy of that book. There probably is one digital somewhere, maybe. But yeah, there's that guy. And then we have this guy, which I had to kind of re-edit, and I didn't draw him all that great. He's actually kind of what I was stated before, is he looks kind of like Bender, and really it's Bender looks like him rather than the other way around, because the person told me, he's like, oh, he totally looks like Bender. I'm like, well, he's older than Bender, so technically Bender looks like him. It's mainly because of the antenna, I'm sure. And then, this guy just has a blank field. He doesn't have the eyeballs, but Bender kind of has that feel. The body, completely different, obviously. And this is, okay, apparently I did not put his name on there. He has actually two different names. His name that I know him best as is Peace, but he actually has like a number, serial number type of thing there. But yeah, he's from a very trippy, like, 70s movie, which is a little risque at the front of it. I was a little shocked. But overall, a decent movie. Most people see him riding like this weird yellow beast thing with a gun. So when you see him in the animation, you'll be like, oh wait, I've seen that guy somewhere. But yeah, he's pretty simple. So I cannot find my Dova bear, but I have pictures of that on Tumblr and everything. So yeah, so hopefully that's fine, and the video isn't too long for anybody. Again, I'm trying to cut down. I don't know how to edit. That's going to be a new hurdle to get across. And hopefully I can do a bunch of smaller videos, so you guys can, like, oh, well, I don't want to watch this part of it, and I don't want to try and find what I'm looking for if she's even doing it. So I'm going to be like, okay, this is going to be priming, the next layer, blah, blah, blah. And each one's going to have their own video for certain pieces. Other ones, I'm going to be showing the whole process, and the same thing for drawing. So again, if you guys have any questions, I can answer. Same thing for, like, working with certain materials. I can kind of give you some answers. I'm not like a pro at using all these different things, but I've used them enough. Been in art for quite a while, and I've wanted to do videos like this for a very long time, actually before YouTube was around, but I couldn't figure out the whole process of working a video camera, which that's a story for another time. So hopefully you enjoyed the little bit that I've shared. Again, this is a learning experience with the new software, which I still can't get working. Still have to go through Google to get the camera working. The quality is because of my camera. It's crap. And this is a normal camera feed for that particular camera. I think once I can afford a better camera, you guys will have better videos. Anything I do digitally, however, will be probably way better, again, hopefully, through the video. And then any YouTube post about Minecraft will be way better as well. I am having some problems with that for Vertigo. There's just slightly enough lag where I have no idea what's going on, and I lose what type of sense I have in the game. It's like, wait, what? You'll see it some other time. But thanks for watching, and hopefully I wasn't horribly boring. All right, bye.